Varsity Club, welcome back to another classic, and today we have a brand new series for you. It's one you've been asking for a long time. So many of you have been wanting an NCAA Football Dynasty, and look, we've been able to do that finally thanks to the helps of the people over at College Football Revamped, and they have helped out an absolute ton. There's a lot of people over at College Football Revamped that I want to give a major thank you to. There was one person in particular they told me I need to give a major thanks to, and that is Houston Mark, and on Twitter he's at Houston not Mark. This dude did a phenomenal job on creating this team that we've put together for you guys. Yes, that's correct. It is a brand new team that is an original university. We have our own records to set. We have our own custom uniforms thanks to that guy. So give him a follow on Twitter, show some major love, download College Football Revamped, whatever you got to do, show them love. They made all this possible and it wouldn't be happening without them. Without any further ado, like the video if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't, and leave a comment down below with what you think about this team so far. I want to hear your opinions, but it's time to meet the team. Proud to bring you the brand new university known as the Cascade Valley Coyotes. We'll be hailing from Akron, Ohio, rocking this incredible black turf that we're going to be having out here. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be a journey. Here's your first look at some of the uniforms and players. So you got to look at the stadium, you got to look at our black turf, you got to look at the crazy uniforms that we have put together, and our incredible logo, again done by Houston not Mark. But we're trash. We are a brand new university based out of Akron, Ohio, and so there's some things we're going to have to work on right now. Recruiting is going to be tough. We are around multiple universities that people actually want to go to. Our program tradition, it's a D-. We're not very great, and we took basically Rice as our university. We're replacing them in this dynasty, so Rice will not be a part of this universe. But it's safe to say that no one else wanted this job other than head coach Mervin McMurvin. I have personally funded this university. Do we have classes? We're working on that. For head coach Mervin McMurvin, he will be focusing a lot of his energy on, well, not recruiting, as we've already used our skill point. That is going to be based on antifreeze, but he has some coaches that he brought along with him. He has defensive coordinator Deacon Wright, and then he has his offensive coordinator Stu Pitts. They don't really have any coaching experience outside of like Major League Football or Rec League Football, so this will be tough. To give you a look at what our schedule ultimately looks like, it's rated a C+ because our conference schedule is pretty weak. We're based out of Conference USA. We're going to be playing on the eastern side, so things will be interesting. But for our schedule, we are going at Michigan, then we go home versus Tulsa, at the Ohio State versus Penn State at home, then we go Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, a couple of weeks off, UTEP, FIU, ODU, Louisiana Tech, Mid-Tennessee State, and then Marshall. Then conference championship week, which we will probably not be a part of. We're facing a lot of top teams early because they're ultimately paying us to play them, and that will help us build the ability to have a school program, because right now we just have athletics. We're a real school. So to give you a closer look at our team, we're going to run down some of our positions, some of our strengths, and some of our weaknesses, which will be a lot. At quarterback, we have JJ Shipley, who's got decent speed. He's got an okay arm, but his accuracy leaves something to be desired. Behind him is JoJo Johnson, a sophomore redshirt, again, who is faster, but has the arm accuracy of, well, probably your next door neighbor, Little Ricky. Behind both of them will be Rocco Green, who will be redshirted this year as a sophomore because we just need to make sure we have more depth overall. And then we have Lee Buckner, who again is a junior and probably won't ever see playing time unless there's a massive injury. At halfback, we have one of my favorite players in Miller Moody. Now, for this dynasty, we will be giving the number 8 to one of our most dynamic offensive or defensive players. It's kind of like what LSU does with number 7. Number 8 will be a sacred jersey that can be passed on year to different year for a player based off if they are an impact guy. For us, we think Miller Moody can be that guy. He has earned the badge of number 8. The 5'10", 209 sophomore redshirt is a 79 overall. He's got good speed, he's got good agility. He's got a little bit of a fumble problem, but I think he can be just fine. We're going to be redshirting Bo Thomas, who's behind him as a freshman. He's a power back. Maybe he ultimately becomes a fullback in the future, but with a lot of guys that are similar in ratings, Marvin Derwin, Dino Montgomery, and Aiden Fairchild, it doesn't really make sense to have Bo Thomas, the lone guy who's not been redshirted, to play this year. At fullback, we have Gamble Monroe. This dude will move trucks out of the way. He's a strong dude. He just maybe won't get the ball here very much. Behind him is Dylan Bowers II and Wyatt Franklin. Wide receiver, there is a really good playmaker here as well. Kyron Christensen is a stud, 83 overall, 88 speed, one of our highest rated players, especially on offense, 90 acceleration. Behind him, you have Riley Cowley, the senior. This dude will catch anything and everything across the middle. Behind him, you have Romello Dawkins, a freshman redshirt, who is, again, one of our fastest wide receivers at 90 speed. You have Lonnie Downs, a redshirt sophomore as well, to 74 overall. We have Troy Bradley, a junior redshirt out of Montana. And then we have our guy, Sidney Peters, the freshman, the lone freshman we have, a true freshman, that'll be a 69 overall. He's gonna be redshirted this year. I think he can help us out a lot. He's small, he's gonna be agile, he's gonna be quick. We need him to sit a year and then be ready if some of these guys are gonna be a little bit more senior or gone next year. The most talented player we have on offense, though, by far, is our junior redshirt, Kalen Harris. This dude is 6'4", 238, and is an absolute stud. If we have a mismatch on the field anywhere, it's pretty much him. Our offensive game plan, if we're not getting the ball to Miller Moody, is to look for Kalen Harris and pray to God he's open. There is one red shirt from the tight end spot. That would be Donovan Rubley. The sophomore will be sitting a year. That way he can get another year of eligibility, and then we've got a couple of guys to compete for. But I think he'll be just fine and help out Kalen Harris next year when he's a senior if he doesn't leave. Rounding up the tight ends will be Elijah Turner, the redshirt sophomore. We move to the left tackle. We've got our guy Cameron French, the sophomore redshirt at 79 overall. Redshirt will be Micah Arroyo, and then Kane Ringley will be our bench guy for the left tackle and probably never play. Left guard is pretty weak for us. We have Bubba Cook, a 70 overall sophomore redshirt. We have a true freshman in Bryson Reed, who will be sitting the bench this year and could possibly maybe start over Bubba Cook next year. We'll see how that works. Hal Kemp behind him at a 67 overall. We move to center. We're a little bit stronger here. We have two guys that are pretty solid for what our team is. Mason Franks, the 6'5", 299 redshirt freshman, as well as DJ Murphy, another redshirt freshman. One of these dudes may move to a different spot, but for now, they'll both be at center. Right guard, we have Connor Wilson, the junior redshirt. We also have Terry Harvey, the redshirt freshman, who will be, benched this year and sitting out for a while. Then you have Caleb Bennett, the redshirt freshman, as well, to 64 overall. Again, the offensive line, one of the stronger positions here is going to be right tackle. You got Geno Thomas, the 78 overall junior. You've got another junior in Andrew Mitchell. And then you have a true freshman in Austin Cooper, who again is redshirted and will probably start after these guys leave. On defense, there is a guy that I'm pretty excited about. One of our captains here, Landon Rawls, an 80 overall redshirt junior. This guy is a stud. He is super strong. He is super agile. And I think he's a guy that can make some major plays for us this year. Behind him is going to be Clay Stroop, another stud on the offense or defensive line. And then Cole McCree, a redshirt freshman, will obviously be benched this year. Going to right end, again, we're strong here too. Isaac Vaca, 75 overall. You got Noah Anderson at 69, and then Jacob Brown at a 67. We move to defensive tackle. We've got one stud here in Thomas Carroll at a 76 overall as a sophomore. And you have Dylan Mobley, a senior, who probably won't play except for senior day. And left outside linebacker, we have Makai Reeves, again, a guy that I cannot wait to watch him play this year. We could obviously look at redshirting him to make him a little bit better for next year, but I'd rather him get some playing time and fly over the field. At 88 speed, he is one of, if not our fastest linebacker, and will be causing havoc for every single offensive game plan. Tyrese Davis Jr. behind him. You got Quan Anthony, the redshirt freshman, behind him, and then Eli Oliver, who, cross your fingers for playing time, buddy. As you go to middle linebacker, we have Logan Nesbitt, the senior out of Derby, Colorado. He will be the tempo setter for our team. Yes, we have some guys that are a little bit better, or maybe a little bit faster, or a little bit more impactful, but this dude is the quarterback of our defense all season long. As we move on, we have Antonio Magwood, the junior, 76 overall. We've got Myron Hadley out of Humboldt, Texas. We've got Jackie Carson out of Cairo, Georgia. And we have Ryan Braden, one of our lowest ranked defenders that we have. One of my favorite players, though, is going to be Jackson Chamberlain. 5'11", 223. He is just an absolute missile when he hits people. Very good in coverage, a very hard hitter, and he's got great acceleration to get through the burst and get those tackles on run defense. He'll be an 80 overall junior. We got Jacoby Walters behind him, the redshirt freshman, as well as Anthony Estes. Again, both of those guys will compete for playing time at some point in the future, but not this year. At corner, we ended up getting one good stud here, though, in Jordan Damon, a freshman at a 75 overall from Aurora, Ohio, which is just down the road from Akron, Ohio. He wanted to stay local, which is the only reason he didn't go to a much larger university. So we got him. He will be a stud at 6'3", 188. His nickname is Stick because he's a super tall, super skinny dude, but I think he'll be a great playmaker for us. Teddy Edmonds behind him, the junior hard-hitting corner. Then we have Tommy Reed Jr. at 70. Then we go back into the 60s here with Philip Antonio, Chase McNeil, and Theo Higgins, who will be our redshirt freshman this year. Free safety is a fun one. We have a junior at a 79 overall in Ty Hammond. We have Bastion Kirk, who it hurts me to redshirt him this season, but I think we'll be better off for it. He maybe won't start at free safety next year, but I think we at least save his eligibility. We could play him at maybe an outside linebacker spot at some point, or we can maybe move him to the other safety side. We'll figure it out, but I want to preserve his playing time as much as possible. And then behind him is Christian Booker, who again, I don't anticipate really playing much. As we move over to strong safety, Zion Shockley, another impact player here on defense, 78 overall. We have Garner Conley, a freshman who will be redshirting this year. And then Cisco Crowder, top name in NCAA football, a 69 overall freshman, who we would consider maybe sitting out, but we need a backup guy for our strong safety, so he maybe will touch the field once or twice this year. The most important position on our team, kicker, because there are people too, will be Colin Duder, best last name in all of football, 79 overall kicker. He's a senior though, so we can say sayonara to him after this season. And then at punter, we have Westy Mendez, who's a 6'3", 200-pound punter. That's a big dude, but he's a redshirt freshman at 67 overall. We are probably going to punt a lot, so I imagine we'll get better. Now, from a recruiting standpoint, there's a lot of guys we're going to be targeting. We have 28 on the board, but that's because our scouting only goes up 10% each week. As we get our scouting better, then we'll be in a better spot to ultimately figure out who we should be taking and when we should be putting the most stock into them. As you can tell, there are a lot of guys I'm pretty excited about here. We got John Hudson, Jamal Patterson. There's some interesting guys here at the top. Again, we don't really have anybody super high. We are trying to go after a couple of corners that maybe their top schools are going to forget about them. We're hoping that a school like Vandy, UVA, Georgia Tech just goes after him super late. We can go for the onslaught early on and then get him. I do also have a lot of athletes on the board. Some of these guys, again, have big schools that are targeting them, but again, the same philosophy. Maybe those schools forget about them and we can jump on early and maybe get them to commit to our university that doesn't have classes. Regardless, though, as we go through this, as we look at more and more prospects, again, we're gonna have to temper our expectations to go down to a couple of 2 stars, a couple of 3 stars, maybe even a 1 star or 2, and try to find a hidden gem. But every couple of weeks, I'll give you guys a recruiting update. We'll figure out who we've signed, who we're making big moves on, and ultimately we're losing out on big time. The last thing I want to do, tell you guys that we are using rosters that have Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and those guys still here. It is going to be their final season before they more than likely depart for the NFL. But the other big thing is we are going to be having the college football playoff as a part of this dynasty. We'll be using an 8-team playoff, so things will get spicy. Instead of having the 4 teams, we'll go 8 teams. Maybe we'll go 6 teams, but if I have to imagine, we'll be using an 8-team playoff to see who really is the best team in college football, but we won't be a part of that for a long time. Again, if you were even remotely excited about this series, do me a favor, like the video if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and leave comments down below. All that helps out a ton. And if you got a friend or 2 that might enjoy this series as well, share it with them. Be safe, be smart, tell somebody you love them. I'll catch you on the next one.